Hey guys, welcome to my first Q&A video. I know I'm not in my usual spot, but our basement's being finished, and I just needed a quiet spot to get this video done because I feel like every time I try to do it at night, something comes up and I can't get it done, and I promised you guys I would get it done. My dogs are in here too, so sorry if they bark. So if a cat runs by or something, I'll grab them to make sure that they get on camera. Okay, so to start off, in case you didn't know, yes, I have a nice little wound here. That was from 4th of July. My dogs don't like fireworks, and we always spend the 4th of July with our dogs to keep them calm. So we're all snuggled in bed, and apparently one of our neighbors let off like a really loud one, and it scared my dog enough that she ran, and she actually took off across my face, and her back nail caught me. So that is my wounds on my face. So I got a lot of questions from you guys, and I actually broke it into 3 sections. So first we're going to cover the cat questions that you guys all have. Then we're going to cover some personal questions that you asked. And then lastly, we're going to cover some true crime and YouTube questions that you asked me. Okay, so this is going to be fun. I'm looking forward to this. So let's get started. Okay, so the first question I got from many people, and I'm sorry I'm not going to name you all because there was like 20 of you that asked this. How did you end up with 14 cats? First, I'll tell you that it wasn't planned. I did not set out to be like, I'm going to have 14 cats. I've always had just like a couple cats, always, and then, stuff happens. So let's start back several years in the year 2013, and I had only 2 cats, Shecky and Shotzi, who's also known as Shooter. We had this stray cat show up in the backyard, and she was pregnant, so she ended up having kittens. And one of the kittens was a little black fuzzball. And my husband has a huge soft spot for black kittens. So what he did was, when the kitten was old enough, he gave me this black kitten as a gift. And honestly, I think it was more for him. But regardless, that is how we obtained Billy Purr. So now we went from 2 cats to 3 cats. In 2014, the next year, we got this frantic call from my mother-in-law. She only lived like 2 blocks away from us at the time. And what had happened is she had a garden shed, and she got into it, and she didn't realize that a cat had gotten in there and had kittens. Well, unfortunately, her dog busted into the shed, and I'll spare you the details, but only 1 kitten survived. So we agreed to take her in, and that is how Peanut joined us. And so now we have 4 cats. In 2016, that's when Lady Dimes showed up in our backyard. She's our matriarch of our bunch of 14. She was pregnant. She had a litter of 4 kittens. We were able to find a home for 1, and then we kept the remaining 3. And that was Ghost, Chappie, and Doc Stumpins. So we went from 4 to 7. The next year in 2016, if you've, seen the Lady Dimes video, she was kind of feral and very hard to catch. So she ended up getting pregnant again. And she had another litter of 4 kittens. Again, we found a home for 1, and we kept the remaining 3. And that was Freddie, Bruce, and Herschel. And, so then we went from 7 to 10 cats. Now, unfortunately, my boy Shecky, who was the oldest at the time, he passed away due to kidney failure. So we went from 10 to 9 then. Now, in 2017, we had built our new house, and we had moved into it. And I couldn't bear to leave Lady Dimes and Nikki. I mean, they were in our backyard, and we were feeding them, and we had spayed them and everything, but they kind of did their own thing. They kind of just came and went. So I never really considered them our cats. Well, they were very friendly by this time, and I couldn't bear to leave them because I didn't know who was going to buy our house and if they were going to be chased out of their home. So I told them that they needed to become indoor kitties and come with me to our new house. It took very little effort. So they came with us and we went from 9 cats to 11 cats. So then that same year we went back to our house to kind of just settle things to get it ready to sell. And there was another stray cat that kind of ran around, and she was friendly, but she really had nothing to do with us. And the neighbors had told us that she actually would go to our back door every night and like yowl and meow and paw at the door. And of course, you know, that broke my heart. So my husband's like, well, load her up. What's one more cat? So we brought her home, and then what we realized is she didn't necessarily miss us. What had happened is she was really close to Lady Dimes and Nikki, and apparently I broke up their little girls group. Didn't mean to. So when we brought her to the house, she was very happy to see Lady Dimes and Nikki, and so their girl group was back together. So Comey became number 12. Now in October of 2017, I got a call from my dad. He had found this little tiny black kitten in his driveway that was about 3 weeks old. And he was bringing him over to me because I'm on the board of directors of a shelter, and I was going to take him to the shelter. Well, unfortunately, the shelter was full, and they didn't have enough resources to actually be bottle feeding a cat. So me and my husband talked it over, and we said, okay, what we'll do is we'll bottle feed him, foster him until he's, old enough to be adopted. Well, because he was a black kitten, and my husband has a soft spot for black cats, he just stayed, and that was Black Phillip. And he was our lucky number 13. So finally, in 2019, a friend had called me, and she said that there was a kitten stuck under her stairs in her porch. So I went over there. We were able to catch him. He was a feral cat. We took him to the shelter. Now, he spent a couple months in the shelter, and he was being overlooked because he was scared. He was feral, but he loved the other cats there. But unfortunately, the other cats didn't love him. All he wanted to do was play. He was a kitten, and they didn't really want anything to do with him. So they asked me to foster him because we already had like 13 cats, and though he would be happy being with these cats, and would also learn at the same time that humans were not bad, and so we could like get him used to humans, and he wouldn't be as scared. Well, so we came, and he became a foster. Well, when he decided to warm up to us, he actually fell completely in love with my husband and actually chose my husband as his person. The feeling was mutual, and my husband, of course, was like, I can't let him be adopted to somebody else. So we foster failed him, and a couple months later, we adopted him officially, and he became our 14th. So that is how we ended up with 14 cats. I didn't go searching for them. They pretty much landed in our laps, and that is the story of how we ended up with 14 cats. This next question comes from Superheroes and Glitter from Instagram. Do you plan on getting any more cats? No. I have learned, to say no. It's something I couldn't do before. Even though it completely breaks my heart when I have to say no to somebody, we know our limits. So, being on the board of directors of the shelter helps because I can refer them there, and the shelter then can help them. So, this next question came from Anime Hug from YouTube. And the question is, how are you different from an animal hoarder? I'm sure she didn't mean it mean, guys. It's just, I'm all for questions. So, by definition, a hoarder is known as somebody who accumulates a large number of animals. But the second part of that is an animal hoarder also fails to meet the minimal standards of care for those animals. And, so nutrition, sanitary needs, and veterinary care. So I may have a above normal amount of cats, but I do not fall into that second category of not providing them minimal standards of care. My house is clean. My house is not overcrowded with animals. Each animal can find their own space. My cats see a vet regularly. and they are fed, high quality of food, and they each get individual attention times. So nobody goes without in this house. And to go beyond that, the cats have cat towers. They have a 3-part large catio that we have out back so they can enjoy the outdoors. And they have lots of toys and cat scratch houses. So basically they have enrichment items to keep them from getting bored. So when I say that my cats are healthy and they're happy, and I also say that they're thriving, they're living their best life that I can give them. So that would be the main difference. Unfortunately, when you hear about people with a lot of cats, you hear the bad situations, the animal hoarders, or, the elderly that just got overwhelmed, or somebody who just doesn't care or is lazy. They're not going to do a news story about, oh, here's Brandy, she has 14 cats and they're healthy, they're happy. That's not news, so you just don't hear the good stories, unfortunately. So let me try to educate you, because there are people out there who can't separate an animal hoarder from somebody who's actually caring for their animals. So the comments I get a lot are, oh my God, 14 cats, I bet your house smells. That's actually a normal thing to think, but my house doesn't smell. So let me explain that when you are dealing with somebody who's overwhelmed, somebody who's an animal hoarder, mental illness, elderly, or somebody who just doesn't care. So they're not keeping up on, their just routine housework, let alone keeping up on specific things that the animals may need. So for example, somebody who's not taking care of their animals, they're not cleaning the litter boxes. So the litter boxes can get dirty very, very quickly, which then causes the cat to seek another place to do their business because they don't want to go in a dirty litter box. So then they start finding other areas to pee in. Well, then that's not cleaned up. And then, you can see how that's where this cat pee smell or this ammonia smell comes from, which of course is not healthy and to live in at all for humans or animals. So then my house doesn't smell because my cats, they're not peeing all over the house because we keep our litter boxes clean for them. And so there's no reason for them to want to seek out another place to do their business. There are times that a cat can go outside the litter box, and that could mean one or two reasons: that there is a medical issue or a behavioral issue. So when I find that one of my cats may be going outside the litter box, they immediately get a trip to the vet to check out if they have a UTI or another medical condition. If it's deemed that it's not a medical condition and they're healthy, and it may be a behavioral issue. And if it's deemed a behavioral issue, then we try to, 1, figure out what the issue is, and number 2, solve it. Now, 90% of the time, it's going to be a UTI or a medical issue, which is honestly the easiest to deal with. You get some antibiotics, it's done, they start using the litter box again. When it's a behavioral issue, that's a little harder to fix, but the hardest part is figuring out what the behavioral issue is. Now, we've had a couple behavioral issues over the years, and, one was very difficult to figure out what was going on, but once we finally figured it out, the solution was actually very simple. And if, they are going outside the box, we're cleaning that up. It's being cleaned and disinfected. We're not letting things build. So, and then of course you just have a basic cleaning, we have a weekly routine cleaning schedule that we do. And that's all that's needed to make sure that your house does not smell like cat pee. The next question we have is from Natalie from Facebook. How do you handle litter boxes for that many cats? That's a good question because I get this all the time. But so the rule of thumb for cats is to have 1 litter box per cat plus 1. So if you have 14 cats, you need 15 litter boxes. Now, the rule is a good one, but after you get probably 5 or more cats, that +1 really doesn't really make sense much anymore. And you have to just play it by ear on how many litter boxes your cat may need. So I used to have 10 litter boxes in the house, and 10 litter boxes were enough for my 14 cats. They were satisfied with that. And we didn't have any problems. The boxes would be scooped at least once per day, if not more. The litter was replaced, dumped and replaced weekly. And then once a month, the actual boxes themselves were like cleaned with hot soapy water and then dried in the sun. So it was my most time consuming chore when it came to the cats. But then I decided to try out the litter robot. And within 2 weeks of having my first litter robot, I immediately bought 2 more. Each litter robot replaces about 3 litter boxes, so I was able to get rid of all the regular litter boxes except for 2. I do plan on getting 1 more litter robot as soon as our basement is finished. But yeah, litter robots are wonderful, wonderful inventions, and I do plan on doing like a review type video on them in the future. So hopefully that'll happen within the next couple weeks, and we can go into that. But if you would like to try out a litter robot, I'll leave a link in the box where you can get $25 off. The next question comes from Misfit13 from YouTube. How much food and litter do you go through per month? I probably spend $100 a month on just cat food, and that's both wet and dry. They get wet food in the morning for breakfast, and then dry is left out all day. I do buy the higher quality food. My cost is probably more than it could be, but I just want to make sure my cats are healthy. For litter, I used to spend $120 per month on litter. We use Tidy Cats. And then when I got the litter robots, you actually use less litter with those. So I was able to cut my expenses by 50%, and I only spend $60 a month on litter now. So the litter robots are pretty much paying for themselves. The next question we got is Kim from Facebook. Where did you get the cat bunk beds, and what is the gray round cat bed in your videos? Okay, so in my earlier videos, I had in the background cat beds, and one of them was a bunk bed. That is actually 2 IKEA doll beds that I put together with a bracket. I have 2 sets in the house. My cats love them, and I just bought foam as like a mattress. So yeah, I have one in my office, and I have another set in my bedroom, and my cats are in them all the time. They love them. The IKEA doll beds are like $14. The round gray bed that is in my later videos, it's just a calming bed that I bought off Amazon. Now there's a whole bunch of different ones. The one specifically that I have, it's called a QC donut fluffy bed. And QC is spelled QUCEY. They're great because they're really low maintenance, and there are times when like 3 or 4 cats will fit themselves into that bed and it'll kind of get smashed. I just throw it in the washer, throw it in the dryer, and it fluffs right back up. It's very low maintenance. So I'll leave links in the description of those beds. So our next question is from Sue via email. Do you declaw any of your cats? No. All my cats still have their claws. I do prefer if cats weren't declawed, but I also know that it can make adoptions go down. So for example, I have a family member, and they've had cats, and every cat they've had has been declawed. Now, disclaimer, they take it to a very good professional vet who declaws, right. They're not taking it to some hack. But other than declawing their cat, they actually ridiculously spoil their cat to death, and their cats have been happy and healthy and thriving. And I know that if declawing was outlawed here, that particular family member would not adopt any more cats. So I'm torn on that sometimes. But personally, I don't declaw my cats. For those that don't know, cats can be trained to not claw your furniture, but you also have to provide them with something to scratch and claw. You know, that's their nature. You can't expect them not to claw anything, but don't give them an outlet for it. Training a cat does look different from training a dog. I call it distraction and redirection. So when my cats, as kittens, they would scratch on the furniture, I would first distract, and that's either like making a loud noise or calling their name, something to distract them. And it even could be like lifting them up and picking them up and removing them from, the item that they're clawing. And then redirecting them to what they should claw on, like a cat tower, a cat scratcher. And then when they claw on that, then it's that positive reinforcement of, pets and kisses and lovin's or treats, catnip, whatever toys, whatever will, positive reinforce them to keep scratching on that and avoid your furniture. And it takes time. It's like potty training a dog. You can't show a dog to go outside once and they have it. You gotta, keep at it. And so you have to keep at it with a cat as well. I'm sitting here, I'll tell you, I'm living proof of you can train cats, not to scratch up things because, I have furniture that's not scratched up. I have 14 cats with claws and my furniture is not scratched up, but I have tons of cat towers, cat scratchers, stuff they could scratch on. So that's the key. My next question, it came from a lot of people again. Do you have any other pets? Yes, we do. We have 3 dogs. We have Paisley, we have Corey, and we have Kara. Paisley was adopted from a local shelter, and she is actually, get this, her mother was a Doberman Pinscher, and her father was a Puggle. Yeah, that was a big oops. But she is a very beautiful dog. Corey and Kara are sisters. They're not from the same litter, but they're from the same parents. They are half Decker Terrier, half Fox Terrier, and we got them from a family member. So they're really good dogs. And then I have 3 turtles. They're red ear sliders. They're aquatic turtles. Their names are Scuttles, Sheldon, and Squirtle. I've had them for 11 years now. Okay, so that was it for all of the cat and pet questions. So now we're going to start on the personal questions. So the first question I have is from Queen G from YouTube. What are your tattoos? So on my arms, I have, plenty of tattoos. So this isn't my very, very first tattoo, and we'll get into that. But I started kind of working on a sleeve a little bit. So the first tattoo I got was of my boy Ghost. I know it's hard to see, but it's like a heart, and then it says Ghost right here. Ghost is very special to me because he came into my life when I was kind of at my lowest, and he actually helped me come out of my funk. So we have a very, very strong bond. So I got this in honor of him. And then this one, it's kind of hard to see. I've been a Loki fan ever since I've been in high school. And so I had Black Phillip as Loki. So this is actually Black Phillip. And then we couldn't have Loki without Thor. So this is Chauncey Joe as Thor. And I plan to add, I just have to decide what I want. So my other one is on my wrist, and it's the infinity symbol with rainbow, and it has a dog paw and a cat paw with a heart. And this is just my little tribute to all the pets I had in the past that I lost and who are waiting for me at the Rainbow Bridge. So those are my tattoos. My very, very first tattoo is a dolphin on my stomach. No, I'm not going to show you. That was 18-year-old Brandy, who thought it would be so cute to have a dolphin tattoo jumping through her belly ring. Yeah, I have since removed my piercing in my belly, so now it makes no sense. So, I don't know. Might get it covered up later. We'll see. Next question was from BH from YouTube. Where do you live? I'm guessing Minnesota by some of your shirts. I don't live in Minnesota. I actually live in Iowa. I live 30 minutes southwest of Des Moines. I have a lot of Minnesota t-shirts because I take a fishing trip in Minnesota every year. I love it up there. It's beautiful. I also have family up there. So it's kind of a tradition that where we go fishing, I buy a hoodie every year. So yeah, you're going to probably see a lot of Minnesota shirts because it's one of my favorite states. It's very beautiful. The next question comes from Jason via email. Are you married or have a significant other? I am married. My husband's name is Jeff, and in March we had been married 21 years. The next question is from Dottie from Facebook. Do you have any human children? If not, do you ever plan on having any? Yeah, we get this question a lot from the parents. I do not have any human children, and since Jeff and I are in our 40s, we do not plan on having any human children. And I know what you're saying. People are like, oh, that's why you have so many cats. You're filling a void, aren't you? Yeah, no, sorry to disappoint you again, but neither Jeff nor I never had a very strong desire to have kids. Even when we were younger, we liked our freedom and our spontaneity. So, we have nieces and nephews that we spoil, and that's good enough for us. The next question is from Ashley via email. Is YouTube your only job? YouTube is not a job for me. Even though my channel is now monetized, which... Again, thank you guys. You guys are awesome. But it's not enough money to even be considered like a part-time job. About half my videos get demonetized because of the true crime content that we talk about. I know I can create a Patreon page and do all that. And I've had people say that they would become a member of Patreon to support my channel. And I really appreciate it. I do. But, at this time, I just enjoy having like a reason to research true crime stories and then have a platform to discuss them on. Otherwise, I'd be researching true crime stories anyway and then just be the weirdo trying to force a conversation about it to my friends and family. So, making a little money on the side, I'm not gonna turn that down, but I never started out to be like, I'm gonna be a full-time YouTuber. Woo, let's go. I have a full-time job. I'm a project manager for a statewide management information system here in Iowa that deals with mental health and social services. I do not plan on quitting my job and becoming a full-time YouTube person. Like I said, for one, I really do like my job, and 90% of the time I get to work from home. I'm actually recording from my office right now. Why I have backgrounds like this, these vinyl backgrounds, is because I do a lot of Zoom meetings and then I do tutorial videos as well for the system. I really like my job and I love who I work with. I am part of a awesome team. And, secondly, YouTube isn't going to pay for my health insurance or retirement, so I'll stick with my full-time job. The next question I have is from Casey from YouTube. Do you have any hobbies? Yeah, like I mentioned, I love fishing. I do that, more towards the summer. I have ice fished, but that's usually I save the winter for other things. Like I do quilting a little bit, and I like gaming. I mostly play Xbox and PC games. So yeah. Those two things usually keep me from doing more than one video a week. I guess you could consider YouTube a hobby at this point, but... Okay, so that's all it for the personal questions. So now we're going to go into true crime and YouTube questions. This first one actually came from a couple criticisms I got from a couple people, so I'm not going to call them out. But basically what they're asking is why don't you have trigger warnings on your videos so we can avoid the really messed up cases? I had someone actually tell me to change a thumbnail because it physically made them ill on one of my videos. And then I had another person actually send me a 4-paragraph rant about how YouTube recommended the Lydia Guardo video to them. They stated they had no idea what they were getting into until after they clicked the video, watched the whole thing, and then said that they were going to have nightmares for the rest of the week. Here's my stance on trigger warnings or content warnings. So my channel talks about true crime. It literally has the name true crime in it, okay? You know, and I know there's other cat videos and stuff, but I mean, it's true crime. That's the first two words, right? It's real people doing screwed up things. Now, I feel that is enough of a warning that the content may be triggering to you, and maybe a little bit more research needs to be done on what you're getting into. Plus, I don't know what is going to trigger people and what not is going to trigger people, okay? Yeah, I can kind of guess that probably like child abuse and stuff like that is going to trigger people. But I put in the description of the video what it's about. The thumbnail should kind of give you a clue what it's about as well. And you know what? Something that I consider the simplest thing in the world is triggering to some people. Like, I got a comment that said something along the lines of, like, I want to like your channel and I like true crime, but having cats in the background, I just can't take it. I'm out. And it's just like, okay, you're triggered by a cat. I don't know your experiences. I'm sorry about that. But, okay, I'm not going to put a content warning saying, you know, there's cats in the video. Again, it's right in the title, True Crime and Felines. They're like the Lydia Guardo video. I literally put in the description that she was tortured and forced to have children with her stepfather. If that doesn't imply sexual assault, I don't know what does. Now, I'm in no way, you know, diminishing people's feelings. Whatever you have trauma over is real. I have stuff I'm triggered over too, but I do my best to avoid that stuff at all costs. You know, everybody's experiences are different. You don't know what's going to trigger somebody. So I get that. I'm not diminishing that. But what I'm just saying is that I've already taken reasonable steps to inform people what my video is about. And I don't feel like I'm ever pulling people in with clickbait where I'm pulling you in with this subject and it's actually this subject. I don't do that. Plus YouTube don't like that either. Also, most of the like top true crime YouTubers, they don't have anything in their description box about what the video is about. Their description box is full of like affiliate links and social media links and like basic promotional stuff where sometimes you don't even know what the case is about until you click it. So what I'm saying is I'm not going to change how I'm doing things. And I'm just putting it out there. So if you feel that you may be triggered by one of my videos, then don't watch my channel. And I won't be offended. It'll be fine. Everybody likes different things. So, all right, ran over. Next question. Dylan via email. Why did you start your YouTube channel? Well, I was bored. I was bored during the COVID pandemic. So, and initially I started the channel because it was going to be mainly for my family and friends. So at the time, because we were on, you know, lockdown and stuff, that we were doing a lot of like video chats and Zooms and you know, we'd start talking about stuff we watched on TV. The plan is that I would research and present a case on video, and then through our video chats and everything, our Zooms, we would discuss the case. You know, it's like a conversation starter, right? Well, when we were on these Zooms and video chats and stuff, there was this ongoing joke that because I had 14 cats, like there was always a cat on video. It was always somewhere. So that was the joke, is that, well, if Brandy's on the video chat, there's a cat on video chat. So I jokingly named the channel True Crime and Felines. And I mean, because it flowed, I do like the name of it, you know, but it was kind of a joke too. But apparently I found a niche that wasn't on YouTube, or if it was, I haven't found it yet. So if you have another channel that's true crime and like cats, like let me know what it is, because I want to watch. Yeah, and then it blew up and it's still growing again. Did I tell you guys you're awesome? So I actually went in and I updated recently the True Crime and Felines logo, because the first logo was a little fuzzy and hard to read because I literally spent 10 minutes on it. That was it, just to get the brand out there. The new logo is a little bit more crisp, more professional, so I hope you like it. Next question is Jen via email. Who are your favorite YouTubers? If you're talking true crime, I watch Bailey Sarian, Kendall Ray, Stephanie Harlow, and then another channel called That Chapter, and it's run by Mike. Love his accent and love his humor he puts into it. He's great to watch. For non-true crime channels, I watch Jamie French. She is freaking hilarious. And I also watch a channel called Fundy Fridays. She talks about like Christian fundamentalism and kind of makes fun of it. So she's good to watch too. If you want to check them out, I'll put their links in the description box below. Oh my gosh, last question from Superheroes and Glitter from Instagram. How long have you been interested in true crime? Always, honestly. But I guess what really drew me in is that in 2009, there was a comedian. His name was, I'm sorry if you hear tools, but there was a comedian. His name was Tim Wilson. I was a big fan. Unfortunately, he has since passed away. But he got with another guy and he wrote a book, and it was a crime theory book about Ted Bundy. It's called Happy New Year, Ted. And the book is about Ted Bundy's like history and stuff, but it's also a crime theory stating that he was responsible for way more murders and attacks than what he was charged with or he admitted to. So when the book was published, if you bought it through Tim Wilson's website, he would actually autograph it. So what drew me in is the actual like factual part of Ted Bundy's story, is because a lot of people, they're aware of like the more famous cases. Like if you throw out there, oh, Ted Bundy, yeah, he killed all these women, but if you actually dive into the history, it really sucked me in, because it was just like, and then I started getting interested in other serial killers. So I started reading up like on Jeffrey Dahmer and Ed Kemper and, just all of them, and I just developed this fascination, which then led into just general true crime to, as it is. And so, yeah, here I am. And I will say that it's nice that in the last couple years, it became more socially acceptable to be into true crime. Wow, that was my last question. Thank you for joining me for this Q&A. Maybe next time we can try it live. If you don't mind my dogs barking in the background and everything. And I did not have one cat come visit me. They're probably all eating. So sorry about that. We'll do another Q&A down the road. So be thinking of any more questions you may have. So thanks, guys. Until next time. See you later.